Hey, welcome to Mondays in Moderation, your weekly break from the monotony that is Monday. That's a lot of M's, and I had to slow it down because I'm going to mess it up if I...
Monotony.
Don't ever do that again. That was the
I'm Adam
show.
West. Mayor of Quahog.
Make sure you guys check us out on all of our social media at Nothing in Mod Pod. Hope you enjoy the show.
Wow.
We are here today. We are talking to our buddy Rafi. He is at _Armenian_demon on YouTube. His channel is currently about his quest, I guess you would call it, to compete on a world world championship for Tekken.
Yeah.
So I guess we're gonna let you tell us a little bit about your story. See where you're how you got into it, where you're headed, what your plans are.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it all started, when I was younger and I played fighting games with my cousin and stuff like that. And I kind of fell in love with the Street Fighter franchise, which a lot of people played Street Fighter growing up. And a lot of people actually played it on the Super Nintendo, which is what I played it on. Never had a chance to actually play it in the arcade until I was older.
Mm-hmm.
But playing that and realizing I was playing a competitive fighting game at that young age, you didn't realize that you were just beating up on your buddies here and there or getting beat up. And I fell in love with it at a young age. I was never good at sports, I guess, like actual physical sports, but I was always really good at playing video games and kind of based my childhood on just sitting in front of the TV and trying to get good at that. And then from there on, it grew and grew until I got older, and it's just becoming a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
But I mean, as people do, people, they race cars and building a race car is not a cheap project, especially if you want to get good at it. And
you should see the head shake I just got from Travis about that one.
It is definitely not cheap, especially when you never finish one.
Yeah.
It happens, man. I mean, and getting into esports at any age is going to be an expensive task. It's a project I've been wanting to do for a long time and just to get my name out there in the world of gaming. And I picked Tekken because, man, I've played it since PlayStation 1 and it's turned 25 now, 25 years old.
Wow.
And I played Tekken 1 with my brothers on the old PlayStation Jam disc demo, and I fell in love with it and kept playing it throughout. I didn't get heavily involved into it until Tekken 5, though. But that's, when I worked at GameStop and could just check out as many games as I wanted to find out what I wanted to get good at. So
that's got to be the only perk of working there.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I met some really great people, like my buddy Rob Ray, my buddy Jason, some awesome managers that I've had while going, my district manager, Tom, who honestly did a lot for me. He actually allowed me to get into the career path I have today by giving me a good schedule to go through school.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there was good things and bad things, but yeah, that company, even then, it was run very poorly, and it was all about, sucking people dry of their money, or, hey, you just bought this brand new $60 game? Well, we'll give you $15 for it. And,
Most I've ever been offered is $9.
Companies need to make money, but that's robbery. So, so I started this YouTube channel for my project, which is competing in the Tekken World Tour this year. I plan on going to a lot of the stops, which people can go onto my YouTube, of course, and check out all the locations I'll be traveling to. First one being Chicago, because unfortunately Japan got canceled because of the coronavirus scare.
All right.
I'm upset, but not upset. And I'll tell you why. I'm upset because I really wanted to go and compete over there, and I've never been to Japan. I thought that'd be amazing. But two, it saves me a ton of money by not going.
Sure.
And this is all funded out of my pocket. So I'm paying for all this through a credit card and working overtime at my job to pay it back.
Yeah.
You dodging the coronavirus?
Chicago.
I asked if you were dodging the coronavirus.
No, I'm not. I'm not too worried about that actually, at all. Us and EMS, we deal with far worse every day.
I was going to say you're around potential hepatitis cases and shit, and Ebola.
Yeah, and that's funny you mentioned Ebola because my company, American Ambulance, had an Ebola strike team, which we actually got dispatched to in Osceola for an actual case, and that was a whole fiasco at the time. But yeah, so that's my plan. I plan on traveling to all these locations and competing, and hopefully doing well through it and recording the adventure and people following it. I really just want people to have fun watching me do something I enjoy doing.
So what kind of stuff is primarily on the channel that you've already got going?
So right now I have one travel video that actually me and you worked on, and it was the trip to Jacksonville. And thank you for helping me with that.
Absolutely.
And basically, for now, it's the one travel video, and then I have a bunch of edit videos, some with humor, some being serious, and some teaching people how to play. Right now, just one character, which is Bang Wei, who has been my main character for a long time. I probably have like 6 years under my belt with that one character. But right now, it's just those videos, which I think I have a total of like maybe 25 uploads, which isn't a lot, but for the people and the amount of people following me for the content I have on the channel, I'm very blessed, you could say. But every week I plan on uploading about 3 or 4 videos, but I have a really big announcement video coming this Saturday, which I'm very excited to share with everybody. And it's about the 24-hour live stream event and who I partnered up with to do the charity for. And it's a huge deal to me. And I didn't think they'd agree to it. I don't want to announce who the group is yet, but on Saturday I'll be announcing it on my YouTube.
Are you so this, and I can edit this a little bit out, this won't be out before Saturday, so if you want to say it, because it'll already be out by the time this goes out. The earliest this will go out is Monday,
and we won't repeat it.
So
no, absolutely. Then absolutely, I can definitely let it out. I partnered up with Bikers Against Human Trafficking here in Central Florida, which is a group well known around the world, in fact. But I met with the local leaders here, Doc and Angie, and they sat me down and I explained to them what I wanted to do. As every year I do an extra life stream, which is for children's cancer benefits or trying to get lab equipment for certain places to help people in need, or just all around charities that we did for my buddy Holbrook, in fact. Because he had 2 preemies born that were twins and spent a lot of time in the ICU. So me and Sebastian tried to raise a good amount of money for them to help out. But this time, instead of doing it for a cancer charity or benefit, because in all honesty, it's a great thing to do, but I feel like you can kind of throw a rock anywhere and hit a benefit for that. But nobody is talking about this real life issue that's happening now, especially down in South Florida with the human trafficking. It's real world slavery, and I don't want to get dark on your channel, but I mean, in all honesty, nobody's talking about this shit, and people are going missing every single day. And you have this great group of people, including celebrities, that are trying to reach out and help. And usually when you hear celebrities, they're like, they're doing it for a reason. But honestly, man, this group of bikers are just phenomenal people are trying to help, and they've actually helped people all over the world, and they place them and take care of them. And that's what the donation is going to be towards, is to helping these people who are survivors.
So is this the group of bikers that shows up to court to make sure that defendants don't intimidate victims?
That kind of, they're very much similar. I think those ones are for like the child abuse cases and stuff like that, where the kids are afraid to go to court, so they show up, which is an awesome thing for them to do, and they help people out. But this group is specifically towards human trafficking. I'm not sure of the details of what they've done for like court cases and for people, but I do know that they've helped actual like survivors of it, and I think there's members inside the group that are also survivors. I plan interviews with with some people that we have in line for healthcare workers who, they see this on a day-to-day basis, and they're taught to spot the signs and symptoms of human trafficking. People go to the hospital for injuries if they're, is related to that specific area. They're trained to spot these things. So I have a lot of information and interviews coming out on this 24-hour live stream that I'm going to be doing. So everybody can stay tuned to it. And if you want to donate, honestly, even if you donate money, just donating your time to watch the stream, that's going to be, full of information about this, cause is just enough, because you'll be able to help somebody in the future just by knowing the signs and symptoms who to call.
Do you know when you're actually doing the live stream? I know you said you're announcing Saturday that you are doing one and that you're partnering with these people. And I believe when you and I were talking, you were talking about doing a 24-hour live stream when Tekken launches the new character that you're interested in. But do you have a rough date estimate as to when you plan to do this?
I'm planning on it's a very rough date, but yes, it's based also upon a specific character's release, which is the brand new Tekken character Puka Ram.
What'd you just call me?
Yeah, exactly, right. He's a very specific character, and I really like his play style, but he's supposed to be out in about 3 to 4 weeks, which is going to be the time frame, of course, of the 24-hour stream. But when I get a rock solid date for that, I will definitely let everybody know via my Twitch and YouTube and my Facebook account and everything like that. I know a lot of people are interested and already messaging me about when I'm going to be doing it, but I'm just waiting for a solid date for this character so I can announce it.
Perfect. Yeah, just keep us posted on that outside of this, obviously, so that we can share it too.
Yeah, we'll definitely retweet all that and get it all out there for you, because I think it's a great cause, and I think it's super cool that they're doing things like that to try to help bring awareness and things like that to the problem as is. Yeah.
It's huge that you have a good group of people doing that. I mean, and it branches out, of course, past them. You have their affiliates and their sponsors who also, like Ruin Zifra is a big partner with them, and they've helped so many people. So I'm proud to be able to say, like, the Armenian Demon for my my gaming handle is going to be partnering up with them to help with a good cause. It's huge for me.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit kind of about on your Facebook about the arcades and you playing Tekken. I was never big into Tekken, but I remember going to Rocky's Replay, and I would play the Cruising USA racing game. But but before I left, I absolutely had to play Soul Calibur. No matter what, my last dollar was always Soul Calibur.
That's my girl's game, and she's slowly getting me involved into that as well. I played a lot of Soul Calibur when I was younger, but never got into it because the ring outs, they kind of annoyed me a little bit. Mm-hmm. I always liked fighting to the end, but I kind of respect it now as playing a game now that doesn't have ring outs and it's just down to the last wire. It's kind of nice to know that you can lose at any moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really cool.
It's like real life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Speaking of arcades, though, I mean, they're making a comeback. They're making a huge comeback. They're very profitable. And it's cool to see our generation that were, spent a lot of time in arcades playing games like Cruising USA and Area 51, the light gun game and stuff, bringing their children to these newer style arcades where they can experience games that we grew up playing and like the new ones, like, of course, like, the big scene of Fortnite and Call of Duty. Now these games have like world tour events, just like Tekken, where they bring money.
Yeah. Well, and even here in DeLand, like we have they just opened an arcade bar here in town. I think it's been open for about a year now. And there's a Dave and Buster's out in Daytona, which I know is like the mega, it's like the mega church of arcades, but there's the pinball lounge in Orlando is huge, and all they do is pinball. That's it. So
that's awesome.
They just jack the prices up. It's no single game for a quarter. You're in at $2 or $2.50.
No, I think it's because it's like a bar restaurant type of deal. Like they focus more on making their money from the bar than on. I think the pinball machines are still fairly priced. I haven't been because I'm not a big pinball guy. So
I miss Disney Quest.
Disney Quest was cool. I actually miss the laser tag place. What was it? Qzar? What was the other place?
Orlando Paintball World?
No, that's not. Jesus, I hate you so much. I forget what was there was that place in Orlando that was Qzar that was laser tag, but there was another place too. I don't remember the name of it.
No, I don't know. I didn't do enough drugs to do all that.
Yeah. Oh man, laser tag was awesome. So I got like you would like laser tag.
I would rather it hurt if I got shot with something. That's why paintball.
That doesn't make any sense. Why do you want it to hurt?
You can't run out of ammo because it's a battery powered device. Does it have ammo?
No.
So you can shoot it unlimitedly.
Yeah.
So why not just hold the trigger down and treat it like a lightsaber?
Because that's not how it works.
Paintball's better.
I didn't say whatever. See, God, you're the worst. Why did I pick you as a co-host?
So tell me more about the Tekken. What sets it apart from, aside from the community, because we'll touch on that too. You know, we've played a lot of other fighting games. You know, Soul Calibur's a little bit more extravagant, supernatural, stuff like that. But what sets Tekken aside from other fighting games? Is it like a mechanics thing? Is it based on real martial arts so it reflects real life? Is it over the top? Is it, you know, animated? Like what is it that Tekken does so well to be 25 years into it's not a series, a brand, I guess, 25 years into similar products and have 7 or 10 installments or whatever it is that is different than like a Mortal Kombat or a Street Fighter or a Soul Calibur?
Well, in my opinion, and I mean, of course, this is strictly mine, but for me, it was the characters involved in the game were very unique, and their fighting styles were based on real fighting styles. And there's one specific mechanic that hooked me to the game more than anything, because Mortal Kombat, you had combos, of course. Every fighting game has combos, but you didn't have specific buttons for limbs, and Tekken does do that. So square would be your left arm, triangle is your right arm, and X is your left leg, and O is your right leg. And that's how your combos are based on. You can't just mash one button because your character won't do anything. You have to throw realistic combos. So when you are fighting another character in the game, you have to see how they're positioned. So if they're standing a specific way and they're leaning with one limb, you can dodge to the left or the right to evade the attack and then punish him, which is a word for causing immense damage to the player, whether countering him or like parrying him or something. But for me, it was just the characters. That game, you couldn't find a character you don't enjoy to play on that game. Not even playing fighting games, you could sit down and look at the character roster and be like, I'll give it a shot. Like, you'll find somebody that you'll enjoy playing. If you watch martial arts movies, I guarantee you'll find somebody that you enjoy to play in that game. Especially with the new character that just came out, Leroy, who's based on the Ip Man. So that character alone introduced way more players into the game because everybody has been waiting for a Wing Chun character for the longest time. And now they actually have one who is overpowered, in my opinion. But it brought in so many new people into that fighting game who used to play Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and stuff. But it's not hard to leave specific games because of their communities as well. Tekken has a rock solid community, in my opinion, and I can vouch for that. I've been involved in some horrible communities in the fighting world, and Tekken is the complete opposite. It's nothing but open arms and like brotherly love. Really is.
I got the opportunity to watch you guys. I think it was a group of you and a couple other buddies who all play the game fairly often. I think I sat on for like an hour and a half watching you guys just play rounds against each other in a round robin and just make me feel like, man, it's a good thing I don't try to play this game because I get my feelings hurt and go home. But everybody was super pleasant with each other. I mean, I think I even texted you that after logging off that everyone seems super cool. But it's impressive to watch anybody do something that they're good at and watching you guys play. And it's like, all right, if I can land one hit, I can continue to hit this person before they have a chance to counter or get up or anything and take all their life away. And I would be the type of person to get pissed and throw the fucking controller across the room.
So that is even before me and these guys became friends. That's the reason I became friends with them, to be honest. I got invited into this Facebook group, which was called the Cracker Jack Crew. And it's a guy named Joe that runs the group. And it's full of some great people, like my buddy Ariel, Markel, my buddy Kelvin. Like, we all play. And even the first time I played these guys, I got, like, bodied, like, destroyed by these guys. But not once were they like, man, you know, you suck. This is what you're doing. They literally, in the middle of the match, I'm telling you, they'd stop and be like, look, this is what you got to do. And it blew me away that this same thing happened to me at a major event as well after I got destroyed at a previous game I played. And the community of the previous game was very shitty and very toxic. And I was expecting that to be in almost all fighting games, but I was very wrong. So basically I went to CEO, which is one of the biggest gaming events here in Florida. It was held in Orlando at the time, and now it's been in Daytona for a bit, but it's going back to Orlando this year. And I went there to go play Mortal Kombat. And
Hadouken.
Yeah.
Well, that's Street Fighter.
Very good.
Damn
Wrong game.
Chicken McNugget.
All right, don't worry about me. I'll cut that part out.
Wow.
But I sat down, and I thought I was really good at the game, man. You know, you play online a lot, and you start running through people, and you think you're one of the best players in the world. But then you go to these majors, and you're like, all these people think they're the best player in the world. I sat down, and I think I got rocked in like 3 minutes in the first game. And I was like, well, I didn't go as planned at all. Like, I was supposed to win in my mind. I looked at the guy, and I said, hey, man, like, good game. And I heard him do the fist bump, and there was nothing. He just looked at me, and he kind of was just like, you got one more game. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is like my first tournament ever that I went to, like my first major. So he beat me again very badly. And I was like, all right, man, well, good game. And he's like, nah, man, it wasn't good at all. He's like, you should honestly not even be playing this. You shouldn't even be playing fighting games. And
I'd have punched him right in his throat.
Expecting that at all. Like, I wasn't expecting that at all. And it was kind of like shook me to the core a little bit because I was like, well, shit, that's not real nice. So I kind of looked back, and then the entire crowd was like nodding, like, yeah, like, what the hell was that all about? Like, get out of here. And I was like, oh, fuck. So, like, I grabbed my controller, put it in my backpack, and I walked off. And it kind of, like, hurt me. I was like, you know, I spent a lot of money to be at this event. I got a hotel room for 3 days. Like, it was supposed to be a fun time, but now I just absolutely don't want to be here. So at the time, the person I was dating, I called them on the phone, and they were like, look, don't leave. Just try to have a good time. Go have some drinks. So I ended up having some drinks. I went back to the convention because it was open 24 hours. And I ended up walking around, and I ended up seeing this guy just sitting there alone. And I sat, and he was playing Tekken. And I'd known of Tekken because I played Tekken 5, but I never thought I'd ever want to play it competitively. I thought it was a very difficult to learn game. And it is. It absolutely is a very difficult to learn game. And I sat down, and I played with this dude for like 2 hours. And it was like 10 o'clock at night, I think. And he stops in the middle of the match, and he's like, have you ever played this? And I was like, no. And he's like, all right, let's pick this character. And he actually went to a character named Brian Fury, which I thought looked fucking awesome. And he kind of taught me some moves because that was his character as well. And played for like 3 hours, man. And he taught me so much. And I was like, man, this, if other communities were like this, and lo and behold, I turn around and I see more people staying behind, like cheering me on as I'm playing this guy. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing? They're like, oh, they're cheering you on. And I was like, I'm not used to that in the fighting world because I just got shit on in that corner basically by the entire community. And lo and behold, found out this dude is like the number 3 or number 4 player from like Atlanta. And I was shook when I found that out. I was just like, holy shit, like, why is this guy wasting his time with me? And then I realized I looked at all these top players that were sponsored at the time, just sitting down playing casual matches with people that wanted to play, and I slowly started to learn. So on the second day of CEO, I kind of just stuck with the Tekken crowd from there, and I learned more and more and more. And then after CEO, I left, I went to GameStop, and I picked up a copy of Tekken and started practicing. and this was at the time where it was Tekken 7, which was the newest one. And I started practicing heavily on that, and here I am now trying to get into the World Tour.
Do you see that there's a decent gap in skill set of online matches versus competition matches?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'd assume that all the guys at the competitions and girls probably play online matches as well. To the world becomes small with the online community, so you should be able to come across some good competition. But is it kind of like going from little league to college sports to where you could be the baddest guy in the schoolyard and then you show up and it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can sit home and play 40 or 50 matches and probably lose like 3 or 4 times and get on this really cool, like, high, you could say, of being like, man, I'm a bad motherfucker. Like, I got this shit, record all these matches, make awesome edit videos. But something happens when you go to a local. You can play somebody, and I hate saying beneath your skill set, but you can end up playing somebody who's slightly less better than you, and he can beat you because, one, when you play online, the connections are not that great. So you get used to that lag input of, I need to hit this button at this time, and at this time. But when you play in real time, there's no lag. So you think there's a delay, which is what happened to me when we went to Jacksonville, is I played Tekken on a 60-inch TV all the time. And apparently that's a huge no-no for competitive gaming of any sort. Call of Duty, sports games, anything. If you play on a big screen TV, you are not ready for anything at the competitive level, in my opinion. I talked to multiple like pro players who have been helping me out as well, and they all told me, go get a gaming monitor, $150, $200, and you're going to notice a difference. And after Jacksonville, when we came back, I was very upset about my performance because I didn't beat anybody. I think I took 1 round out of the entire 2 fights that I had. I was very upset with myself. And then when the new gaming monitor showed up, I bought a BenQ gaming monitor, which is like the cream of the crop. I hooked it up, and I didn't play on it. I stared at it for like 4 hours because in the back of my head, I was like, man, I want it to be the gaming monitor and not my nerves, because you do have nerves when you go to any competitive thing. I mean, especially with racing, I'm sure when you're up there at the line and you're waiting for that light to change, nerves are going to affect your skill set.
Yeah, and if you think you're going to get beat, you just steer into the other lane.
Yeah.
Just hit them.
For me, when nerves hit, I was so scared about it being nerves and not, I felt like there was a massive delay, and I was like, could it have been my fingers? Could it have been nerves? But the moment I started that gaming monitor and I booted up the PlayStation, I couldn't beat the computer on the easiest level. And I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong.
What do you mean?
Maybe it was like, maybe it is the gaming monitor, because I was dropping combos and I was hitting button inputs. And then lo and behold, it was the entire time. It was the gaming monitor. It was me playing on this big screen TV. It wasn't nerves. So immediately that week, I signed up for another local in Orlando. I went. I took my buddy Andrash with me, and I ended up destroying 2 people at my local. And it was the greatest feeling. So I was like, I feel like I'm back to where I need to be, but I still need practice. Of course, I didn't win the local. I lost the next round pretty badly, but that's because I got confident and I was like cocky. And I think those 2 things that'll ruin you, honestly. You should always kind of stay vigilant and humble. But yeah, I kind of went into the 3rd fight thinking I was just going to perfect this guy like I did the first guy, and that is not what happened.
So bigger isn't always better.
The skill set of online versus at a local is very much different. You have people that strictly just play online. They never go to locals because they want to be like, yeah, I run through people online, I'm like the best. Then you have people who don't play online and just go to local events, and they are very difficult to beat because they're used to eyes watching them. They're used to the noise. And everybody's screaming or shouting at the event, usually from Smash Brothers players, because their corners are always hyped.
Let's talk about some Smash Brothers. Are we going to break out the N64 and turn on some DMX and just go hard on each other?
Good. everything you just said right now sounds awesome. So, like, I'm totally down.
Sounds like you got a small chub.
Right. We have a Nintendo 64. I can get Smash Brothers on the Switch, which is the newest version of it, which has every character known to Smash.
So what you're saying is we're doing a Nothing in Moderation goes to Rafi's house, and we're just going to do a joint YouTube podcast of us playing Smash Brothers.
Yeah, it could be a giant gaming podcast.
Nice,
man.
nice. And we can record it all for YouTube. I like it.
That's it, man. That's all we got to do.
We'll get it planned out.
I'm always down to play any fighting games, man. Like I said, I've always loved them, and I love the learning curve of everyone. My buddy Rico right now, he's trying to get me into King of Fighters, which is an insane learning curve. I don't think I'm ready for that. I just want to stick with Tekken this year and go to all my spots and compete and hopefully make something of it this year, you know. Trying to get sponsored, which I have 3 people in line and I'm speaking to right now, but I have to bring numbers to them. You know, I can't just say I'm going to do great things and then they sponsor me and I fail. So
with, you know, you're talking about sponsorships and going to competitions and stuff, aside from personal reward, you know, achievement, stuff like that. Is it something that people make money off of? Is it something that the sponsorships pay you the way they do in a lot of other sports, or how does all that work?
So sponsorships, from what I've figured out, they have 3 levels. They have like your basic sponsorship, and then they have like an affiliate level, and then there's one above that, which is like a full sponsorship. So when you get like your basic sponsorship, let's just say Red Bull called me up, and Red Bull's like, hey, we've noticed you have, you know, 8 million people watching your YouTube, and you always stream with thousands of people watching, and we want to sponsor you. They can start me at the bottom, which means, hey, you can wear our shirt and our name and stuff like that, and then you can have Red Bull's Armenian Demon on your gamer tag. So whenever I go to these events, what they do is they pay for your entry to the events and maybe the flight and hotel there. That's for specific events. That's just for like your big major events like CEO, Evo in Vegas, this Tekken Masters that was in Japan that just recently got canceled. Then there's the affiliate level where they kind of just like, we're paying for everything. Like, here, you're going here, you're going here, you're going here, we're paying for it, you're not paying a dime, we got you, we cover you, but you have to deliver numbers. I think this could be wrong too, so if anybody is listening to the podcast, please, you know, correct me, but I think you have to place at least top 10.
Nobody listens to us.
I listen to you guys.
Yeah.
So I think you have to place top 12 or at least top 10 consistently, or they drop you. It's just like any other sponsorship for anything else. But then there's the final level where they're like, look, we don't want you to do anything other than play video games, and we're going to pay you.
It's
and
like a dream.
That is where you make real money in the gaming division. So there's streamers out there like Ninja and Shroud and Markiplier, 8-Bit.
PewDiePie.
Yeah, PewDiePie. Which just retired. I think he's coming back or something like that. But yeah, these guys, their job is to stream and play video games and make it entertaining. My favorite streamer is Eris, who's also known as Avoiding the Puddle, which is one of my goals to meet him this year. He's a big Tekken player, and now he plays other things like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and he's just a very entertaining streamer, and I've always enjoyed watching him. But yeah, it's my goal is to meet him. But yeah, that's kind of how the sponsorships work. So if Coca-Cola hits you up and they're like, hey man, we're giving you a full ride sponsorship because you're consistently placing 5th, 4th place, then I don't work anymore. Like, this is my full-time job, where they're like, all right, car's paid off, your home paid off, but you have to sign on with us for an X amount of time, and, you know, we're going to pay you through it, and we're going to have you travel and wear our gear and everything else like that.
You have to walk around holding a Coca-Cola can on display continuously. And
this Fig Newtons banner on the windshield really is convenient, but I do love Fig Newtons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an area where I want to get in. I talk to a lot of pro players who are sponsored by specific companies, and they're like, yeah, in the beginning it was really cool because I'm on a plane to like Thailand for the Tiger Uppercut event for Street Fighter. But
I can't believe they train tigers to play Street Fighter.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Almost not illegal there. But they just don't enjoy it anymore, man. And I don't want this project to become a chore at all. I don't want it to become a burden to my life. That's why I'm having fun with it this year. And how it goes this year is depending on how I'll do everything next year. So I just don't want this to become a hassle for me and my loved ones. So I am going to be doing a lot of traveling, and every time I travel, I'm taking a different guest with me.
Oh. That's why I haven't been invited back.
Oh,
not yet. Like I said, I plan on traveling a lot this year, so there's a destination. But I mean, I should use your miles. So
the other thing, I obviously League of Legends seems to be the big one right now, and then any of the first-person shooters. Obviously, from the days of Modern Warfare, I can remember everyone calling each other pussies and "I'll kill your mom" and shit like that. It sounds like the Tekken community is far more pleasant than that. But are fighting games anywhere near that realm of earning capacity, or are you guys still kind of, for lack of a better term, second-rate citizens at this point?
I think the earnings, I don't think they're on the level of the first-person shooters or of course, League of Legends. League of Legends, I think, was the biggest payout ever. It was like millions or something like that.
Doesn't Madden have pretty big payouts too, or wouldn't Madden?
Madden, I think, used to have pretty good payouts, but I haven't heard of a Madden event in a while, to be honest.
Because Snoop Dogg keeps winning them all.
Yeah, dude, he's actually. Have you ever watched him? Have you seriously watched Snoop Dogg play Madden? He's not. He's not bad. Like, he's no joke. My favorite part though is when he records that shit and he's talking shit to people that quit early on him. Man, listen, Snoop is funny as shit playing Madden. Although I'm disappointed because Snoop, he must have low standards somewhere in his life because he plays on an Xbox. I'm not.
Oh.
I can't get behind. That's like having an Android phone.
He probably got it for free and it's sponsored somehow.
It could be it.
Most of it is.
It's weird. Yeah, they usually give sponsorships to millionaires. Shit doesn't make any sense to me.
It's a larger framed object so you can move more drugs.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny talking about Madden. Louis, I think it was, knew a guy that he used to run into at parties in college or whatever, and the guy was part of the dev team for Madden.
Oh, wow.
And all the frat guys want to play Madden. Mm-hmm. He's like, listen, I worked on the game. You can't beat me. Yeah. And they'd be like, oh, well, you know, you don't know. We play all the time. And he's like, all right, if I don't beat you by at least 50 points at the half, you can count it as a win. And it was like every single play was a touchdown or an interception or a fumble. Well, it's just like, I helped write the code. I get it.
Well, and you've got to really understand football too. Like, and that's, I think that's where I lack in Madden is I don't fully understand football. Like, I can't tell you the difference between like a dime and a nickel package. I don't know. I'm just throwing the ball or running it. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. If I'm not on my horse with a gun blasting people in the face as I run down the little roadway in town, I'm essentially useless. Get the hover bikes out of here because I'm getting blown up. And
I haven't turned Grand Theft Auto on since the last time I played and got murdered 7 times in a row by one of those dickheads on the hover bike. I'm just trying to run drugs, man. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I'm just trying to run drugs. That's all I want to do. I want to keep my little weed factory going, my little money laundering business. I don't need you murdering me every time I'm trying to complete a mission. Bullshit.
I'd imagine fighting games don't fall in the category of pay to win, do they? Rafi's going through a tunnel.
You got Sprint?
I think he's getting fukarammed.
Yeah. You're cutting out, buddy.
You guys not hear me?
He gone.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, you there?
There he is.
Oh, all right.
Hey.
We lost you for a second.
Oh, my bad.
No, that's cool.
It sounds like Yoshi got the phone.
I'm on the Wi-Fi.
Oh.
The Wi-Fi.
But no, I don't think fighting games fall in the category of pay to win. But they do have DLC characters that come out. Like Mortal Kombat's heavy on DLC characters. Tekken is as well. So if you want it's not really the next best great character. You can win a fighting game with any character. You just have to put time and effort into that person.
Oh, that's it. That's the conundrum.
This is just like the argument about wanting to have abs.
Yeah.
I should be able to do like 10 sit-ups and eat a salad and I have abs. This whole having to spend a year doing it makes me not interested.
Correct.
I'm an instant gratification
person.
person.
Between the gym and gaming is I can literally sit there and play games for like 20 hours, and I can't do that at the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. They think it's weird you brought a TV.
Yeah.
Or that you were streaming from the locker room.
They'd probably find a way to support you at Planet Fitness.
You're inevitably going to get some old dude who likes walking around the locker room naked to just dry his balls in the background.
God, I hate those guys so much. Hate them. God, they're the worst. I've seen so many old man dick in the locker room.
Oh, in the locker room?
Oh, God.
In the church. So, Rafi, so what you're telling me is it's not necessarily a pay to win because EA hasn't come up with a fighting game yet.
I think EA does have a fighting game.
They own one of them, don't they?
I think they do the UFC games.
I know they do the UFC games.
Yeah,
but
and they are garbage in my opinion.
fucking hot garbage. You know what? That's the one thing. Like, I've never been a big fan of UFC anyway, but I never liked the games. But
I'll tell you what, I would leave, and I say this, I would leave a majority of fighting games. I mean, I would never leave Tekken. That will stay in my circulation. But I would leave most if Fight Night came back.
Oh, where you have the fight sticks and you have to do different twirls and pirouettes and shit to get good punches.
I miss boxing in general.
Yep.
And the last Fight Night game that came out had such a cool storyline that it was just a solid fighting game.
They had the Def Jam version of that too, with all the rappers in it.
Def Jam?
Yeah.
Could you put in like the cheat codes to dunk from half court?
The like Joe Budden was one of the ones in the game. So, but pretty much everybody signed to Def Jam at the time was a character in this particular version of Fight Night.
Right. And of course, Def Jam's Fight for New York is still critically one of the best fighting games ever made.
Oh, wow. Damn. That's
wow.
Yeah.
They're going to have a mini tournament at CEO for Def Jam. And last year when they did this too, it pulled like 300 people.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Damn.
I only remember playing the demo for Fight Night where you could be Tyson or Ali.
Yep.
And just wailing on, because that's the match everybody wants to see anyway. I mean, not anymore because one of them's dead. But I mean, I don't imagine he'd put up much of a fight, but he's not going to go down.
No.
But I mean, that's always the argument. In their prime, who was the better fighter?
Ali.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I don't know.
That's like putting Bruce Lee in the UFC game. So can I just button mash and win a tournament? Can I just like pick Eddie Gordo and keep doing windmill things and sweep people?
I never understood why that became a thing of everybody saying, I'll pick Eddie Gordo and button mash. You'll die. Like you that
You'll die.
Eddie Gordo was known as one of the cheapest characters, but that's only because of his mix-up with his highs and lows.
I think I'm going to...
Second, you have to block low.
I think I'm going to name this episode Button Smashing with Eddie Gordo.
There you go.
There you go. But in all honesty, in Tekken 7, I've been playing that game for like 6 years, and I think I've ran into 10 Eddie Gordos.
That are any good?
Well, no, just in general.
Like nobody uses him?
I ran into 10 because nobody plays him. He's in my opinion, he's not a very good character.
Well, that's like having to fight someone who's good with Jigglypuff in Smash Brothers. It's like, yeah, you got beat by a puffy little pink thing that sings you to sleep.
I do. Who's your Smash Brothers character?
I honestly didn't play much after the first one. I didn't play the Melee or Brawl or Ultra or whatever's out now. When it was Nintendo 64, after I unlocked Captain Falcon, that was my guy. I used to like using Star Fox or Fox just because people would get so mad. He doesn't really have a good skill set, but I did, you juggle people in the air. Samus was kind of an OP character in the original game, but Falcon was definitely my jam. And then they made him so fucking fast in Melee, you just kind of run off the edge of the screen on accident.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that, or I would have to pay good old Kirby would probably be my character.
That was always Matty Cakes' go-to guy.
I don't have a clue what you guys are talking about. I've never played a single match in Smash Brothers.
Well, you're not going to do good on the podcast.
Probably
Smash.
not. That's the point, though. I told you, I'm always just good enough to not be a liability.
Nice. That's why you go on the other team.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why I always got picked for the team that wasn't going to win.
Reffy, you know how bad I am when we play like H1N1?
Oh God.
Or H1Z1?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so for the audience, when we play
You're
H1,
not bad.
Oh,
you just have a different play tactic.
That's the nicest way to say that. That's the nicest way to say you suck.
I'm a distraction. Yeah. So we'll all be in the vehicle and we'll be driving at a group of other guys. I know I'm not going to kill anybody. So as the vehicle goes by, I jump out and start shooting at them. So they start shooting at me, and Raffy and Nappy and Boris can kill them.
Nice.
So I'm useful once.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do in Red Dead.
You sure do.
Like I just ride around and I rope everybody up and bring them to a regular area so they can get murdered.
Yep.
That's what I do.
To the killing den.
I am the decoy. So.
I got to play that with you guys.
Yeah, you got to
download it finally.
You got to get on with this. It's good times.
And we promise, we can't promise for Bobby, but we promise that we won't do to you what Bobby did to his almost brother-in-law. Convinces the guy to buy the $60 game, and the first time he logs in to play multiplayer, Bobby face fucks him like 4 times in a row, and the guy turns it off and gets rid of the game.
Yeah. Never played it again.
He's like, well, I don't really know the controls. I'm dead. Yeah. Bobby chases him around the map.
That stuff doesn't get me irritated, man. I've been gaming for such a long time, and I think the best way to learn is just to get your ass beat multiple times.
Absolutely. I've got plenty. My death to kill ratio is very terrible because that's the way I learn as well. I will tell you, you will receive a posse invite as soon as you join the session. The rule is join the posse or die. So just remember that.
All right. It looks like I'm in.
Yeah. Shit.
You're either with us or you're against us.
Pretty much. If you show up red on the map, you're going down.
There you go. I agree.
So, last question before we cut you loose, Rafi, because I know you got a life and practice to do. Aside from Tekken, which I'm not saying it is your favorite game, but what would you say is your favorite game of all time? And if you can't think of one, you can give us your top 3 or 5 in no particular order.
Favorite game? Actually not going to be that difficult to answer. It's probably going to be Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past.
So that's the one for SNES, right?
Yep.
That's the one they just remastered, right?
I think that's the one I had played when I was younger.
I don't know if I think they remastered it a bit ago,
okay.
But that's probably my all-time favorite. I can play that still to this day.
It's like the original RuneScape.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything like that.
That's the 8-bit one, right? The RuneScape?
I think so. I don't know. I've never played RuneScape. Okay. I know that's making a resurgence for the youngins.
Yeah. I watched my niece play it when I was at my brother's house last year. And I almost wanted to come home and download it. Like, it's just relaxing. It's weird.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'd say a Legend of Zelda game being your number one is probably pretty common for anybody within a 10-year range. I mean, I still subscribe to the theory of if you ever played Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, every other game you've played is probably compared to it. Not necessarily are the graphics are equivalent or anything, but like I had so much time and fun invested in Ocarina of Time, and thinking back to it, the graphics were amazing at the time, but I'm sure they're kind of shit now. But that's my standout game.
It's Excite Bike for me.
Is it?
Seriously, yeah, absolutely. Like Excite Bike's just that one game I remember playing a bunch of when I was a kid. Contra sometimes too, mostly because I like to steal my brother's life in Contra with its little cheat code.
And speaking of which, the creator died.
Oh, sad times.
Yeah, for the Konami code. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I saw that article. I didn't realize that was him.
And so, did you ever on Excite Bike make your own levels?
Absolutely. That's the only thing I did.
Did you know if you go to make a level and save it without putting an end, it's an 8-minute and change or 9-minute long lap? You can just sit on the throttle and it just drives flat and forever almost.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
I did not know that.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Travis. I'm glad you brought something to this podcast.
Yay!
Wow! Wow! All right, everybody. It was Rafi. It was good talking to you. We're gonna get you. We'll definitely tag you in all the social media stuff and all the descriptions. But for everybody listening, it is at @the_Armenian_demon on YouTube. If you guys want to, give him a follow, subscribe to his channel. Make sure you guys are checking out all his videos and supporting him.
Did you get that name because you're a devil, or because you're Armenian, or?
It's mostly because I'm Armenian and I needed something pretty cool after that. So
I'm with it.
So the reason I picked the Armenian Demon, long story short, is in the Tekken community, there's not a lot of Armenian players. And now from last year, Pakistan showed up and ended up becoming like primarily the gods of the Tekken game. All the Pakistani players ended up being very awesome and knocked out all the Korean and Japanese players and stuff like that. It was unheard of. But I saw in my head, I was like, hey, I wonder if Armenia has like a gaming kind of group. And I found out they do. And they play Counter-Strike and shit. So
Nice.
I'm trying to get them into the fighting scene, mostly in California, though. So we'll see what I can do. But, yeah, it's the reason I picked the Armenian and then the Demon at the end of it, because it kind of just flowed together. There's no semblance that's behind that other than I wanted people to know that I was Armenian. So I'm proud of my heritage. So
Absolutely, brother.
That's good stuff. Well, again, we appreciate you taking some time to talk to us. Make sure everybody that's listening goes out there and gives him a like and a follow, and definitely keep an eye on what he's doing. I think he's going to do some really cool things this year.
Yeah, man, I'd love for everybody to join me on my travels. If you have a chance, go to my YouTube site. Please subscribe. It does help me out. And the more people that I have that subscribe to me makes me want to do bigger and better things, you know. So stay tuned and keeping the line for the 24-hour live stream for, like I said, partnered up with the Bikers Against Trafficking. And check them out also at the bikersagainsttrafficking.org. They're an amazing group of people, and I couldn't believe they agreed to partner up with me and do this 24-hour live stream for a good cause. So, and I want to thank you guys for having me on this podcast.
Hey, no problem, man. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right,
Thank you very much, my friend.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Be good.
All right. Bye.
Hey, kids, you've reached the end of the podcast. That's it. There's nothing more here. Just dead air and this closing statement. We appreciate your diligence, though. Now go back about your day and come back for the next show. Or listen again. In fact, that sounds like a better plan. Grab another show. That's what I'm doing right now. Whoever listens the most wins. You don't really win anything, really. Just the memories of better times, which is winning in my book. All right, well, this is the actual end. Hand banana.